Well, we now go to Memorial University, where the Board of Regents has announced that Vianne Timmons is no longer president. This comes during week 4 of Timmons' 6-week voluntary paid leave of absence. So let's bring in Ariana Kellen now, who's standing by live at the St. John's campus. So Ariana, what is the Board of Regents saying?
The Board of Regents met last night to discuss this issue and today announced their decision on MUN's Gazette Online. Now, the Board of Regents nor its chair, Glenn Barnes, is talking, but they did state today that Vianne Timmons' contract was being ended without cause basis. Now, the contract was set to expire in December of 2024. Glenn Barnes said that he appreciated Vianne Timmons' contributions to the university and that he wished her well in the future. So how did we get to this point? Last month, our reporting raised questions about Timmons' statements on her Indigenous heritage. She says she feels she has always been very clear in her distinction that she does not claim an Indigenous identity, but Indigenous ancestry. But our investigation found multiple cases where she cited membership in an unrecognized band in her CV and in professional bios online. Now, the Labrador Mi'kmaq First Nation in Cape Breton is neither recognized by the feds or by the Union of Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq. Timmons also accepted an Inspire Award, that's formerly the Aboriginal Achievement Awards, in 2019 for her work in education. She says she accepted that award after consulting with an elder, and that she did so to honor her father's wishes of acknowledging her Indigenous ancestor. Now, following CBC's initial report, Timmons did go on a paid 6-week voluntary leave, and that's where that leaves us today, Carolyn.
Okay, so Ariana, how is the university community reacting to this tonight?
So the university is also not doing interviews today, but they did send out a statement saying that it is still committed to doing its Indigenous roundtable. Because if you remember, when this first happened 4 weeks ago and when Timmons went on that leave, the university said that the next step would be to convene Indigenous leaders for an Indigenous roundtable, that the next steps in this process needed to be Indigenous led. But in the past 4 weeks, I've been asking Memorial University for an update on the members, on the scope, on the timeline, and there hasn't been any details. MUN today saying that they will be still convening this Indigenous roundtable. Doesn't appear that there has been much movement, but they're still committing to that. Now, for some Indigenous students I spoke with today, they see this move by the Board of Regents as a way to shirk their accountability.
I'm not going to comment on Vianne Timmons' indigeneity because I know I don't like when people, question my heritage as a mixed race individual. I'm Inuk and Punjabi, but I do think that she went about it the wrong way. There's a right and wrong way to reconnect, and she didn't make any effort to connect with Indigenous students on campus. She didn't make any effort to go to Juniper House and to learn more that way. And instead, everything she did was behind closed doors, and we all found out afterwards, and that's kind of like a slap in the face. And now we have absolutely no resolution. She's stepped down. She's still getting her severance pay, and there will be no conversation with us. So no, we're not happy. As the Indigenous student body, I don't think any of us are happy with the decisions.
It's not just students who are talking today. MUN's Faculty Association also came out with a statement asking for two things. First, that the university properly investigate Vianne Timmons' claims to Indigenous ancestry, and also they're calling for reform of the presidential search. Now, in the meantime, Memorial University has named former Vice President Academic Neil Bose as President and Vice Chancellor of Memorial University for the next 2 years, or until they can find a new president for Memorial University. Now, Timmons is not going away from this university empty-handed. Her severance outlines that she can have at minimum, or she's entitled to at minimum, $675,000 or 18 months of her base salary. Carolyn?
Thanks so much, Ariana. That's Here Now's Ariana Kelland reporting live. Well, the Innu Nation is weighing in on the departure of MUN's president. In a statement late this afternoon, it said, in part, while this closes the door on the issues surrounding Dr. Timmons, larger policy issues about research funding, diversity, equity, and participation of Indigenous peoples at MUN still needs to be addressed. The Innu Nation says there's a growing problem with people and groups wrongly claiming to be Indigenous, and there needs to be a process to address it. It goes on to say it is clear that MUN can no longer sit on the sidelines on this issue.